we're back.
We're back.
We're back.
What?
We're back. We're here. It's Thursday. It's supposed to be Friday.
We're not back, though. We're here for the first time.
I'm like,
you guys are back.
You're making me feel like I missed out on something. Did I miss something already?
Did we?
Actually, today's going to be fun. You know, we kicked off last week with kind of a starter series, which we really haven't done with kids in business and entrepreneurs. So I thought it'd be really fun to have my boys, Christian and Chase, in here on the podcast and kind of talk about the crazy life that they have with living with two entrepreneurs and in the real estate space, and just kind of get their take on it and what they've learned, what they haven't, and see what kind of crazy questions Bernie comes up, because we haven't even talked about what questions are going to happen. Well, introduce yourself, boys.
You go first.
Well, I'm Chase, Steve's son, obviously.
Good call.
That's my favorite word.
16 years old. I work at QT a lot, like 40 hours a week, something like that.
Married, kids?
Not yet,
16.
fortunately. Yeah, we'll stick with that.
Christian?
I'm Christian. I'm 18. Yeah. What?
Jeez.
West Side. No.
Oh, my God.
I work at Dutch Bros, which is pretty fun, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not married, but I feel like it sometimes because, yeah.
I'm telling Jordan.
The rest of us feel like we're married to your girlfriend sometimes.
And I don't have kids, but I feel like, you know, all my friends are like little ducklings that just like follow behind me.
That's true.
And you're probably Mama Duck. So.
That's so funny. He's like one of the kids.
He is. He is. You
Christian, how many jobs have you had? You're 18, so how many jobs have you
I've
had in the last couple years?
jobs.
8
What?
jobs.
Since I turned 16.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I've had a lot of jobs.
That's a lot.
I don't like
That's
not
really
working.
Cool. Yeah, I got a job when I turned 15 and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the interview at Tilly's, which was my first job when I was 15, like before I could drive. My mom drove me to Norterra.
Chase, did he ever work there?
Dude,
like
once
actually?
or twice.
like 3 or 4 times,
But
actually.
he used the discount like 4 months after
I was
he
saying the
stopped
discount
working.
is worth it, right?
I still
Yeah.
used the discount last summer. I think that was the last time they let me use it, which was a year and a half after they laid me off.
That's
I never
funny.
quit. They just stopped scheduling
They
me.
never even fired you. They just didn't let you go.
That's
So one of the
great.
things Bernie I talked about last week was our whys, like why we wanted to work when we were your age. So what's kind of like the reason you guys are both working at this point?
For me, definitely like with my friends and stuff like that, like I'm a year older in my grade, so my friends don't drive, they don't work, they don't have jobs, anything like that. It's like when we want to go and do, like I've got to pay for the gas, I've got to pay for this, I've got to pay for that. So if I work 40 hours a week and I can only have one night with my friends, that night is going to be really fun because now I've got a $600 paycheck to go and screw around and spend a bunch of stupid money at Walmart and whatever and do all that stupid stuff.
I did
and
not
just,
teach
like,
them that.
So is that because like if you did ask your mom and dad for money, they were like, no, go get a job?
Exactly.
We have a commission system. So we do our stuff around the house when we're not working,
Yeah.
and we get $100 a week in commission from mom and dad.
Oh, that's cool.
Like,
But
hey,
they don't pay for
I
anything.
used to steal my
Yeah.
mom's ATM card.
they only pay when we go
They
out.
still do that.
They only pay when we go out to dinner with them, or if they go out of town, they'll pay for like 1 or 2 meals while they're out of town.
So you guys pretty much are self-funded.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
Which I think is great because that means.
Did you always like it though?
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I
'Cause-
turned 16, I didn't really like it that much.
So that
I
was the
hate
age.
asking for money. That's my thing.
Yeah, I don't like
I
asking
like when
them
I
for
first
money.
turned 16. I applied for QT the night that I turned 16, or the night before, and so there was like a week in between actually getting hired and getting paid and stuff like that. And when I was still driving, so I had to ask my mom a couple times, like, hey, I need money for gas, or hey, like, I just don't have any money, and I hated it. And I'm like, and she knew that I was trying and I was going out and looking for a job and that I got hired and stuff like that. But I hate asking for money. I'd rather just go and work and do that myself and be able to make my own choices with my own money
Nice.
and not have it like tied to anyone else.
Is it just money that you don't like asking for? I mean, are you okay asking for other things that you need or want?
Not really. I'm not great at that. It just makes me a little bit uncomfortable. Like I don't like relying on
vulnerability.
other people. Like even like before I had my driver's license, like asking him or asking my parents to take me somewhere, I always felt like I was like dragging on other people. So I'd rather just be like completely self-sufficient. Like I just do everything for myself and by myself, just very like independent.
So is that different with your generation as far as, because I know there's been like a big topic, different things where kids don't want to get their driver's license right now, but then they're reliant on everybody else.
About it, man.
In our generation, I feel like us two and a certain few people are just like a very rare type of person. Like you go up to a lot of 16-year-olds, a lot of them are still going to want their driver's license and want that freedom, but another good portion of them doesn't want to be independent. They want to rely on everyone else. They want to rely on their parents. They want to rely on the government, things like that. They don't want to be self-sufficient because it's so much easier to just have things handed to you. And it's so much easier to call an Uber than to drive yourself there.
And it's one of those things where they don't want the responsibility that comes with having a driver's license.
Exactly.
Like I know people that like they have the car, they have the license, but they don't want to have to work to pay for the gas or pay to go out to do things. So they just ask their parents for it. Yeah.
So what was it? I can't wait because I've not asked this. What was it like early on? Chase, I've heard you a little bit about this. What was it like early on with Wendy and I as far as teaching you things and the conversations? Because I know that at some points you were pretty annoyed early on because everything was what?
It always felt like a lecture, yeah. Like it was always...
Parents, right?
It was always sit on the couch and listen.
And
for a couple
we
minutes.
hated it when we were younger because we didn't really understand it. Like the whole, like, you guys need to like work hard for what you want and like nothing gets handed to you. And we had a lot of those lectures about like you trying to like get us to do all this stuff for your business. Because obviously at like 11, 12, 13 years old, there's not many places around here that are going to hire you to do work and like
child labor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Yeah.
So he was trying to get us to do that. None of the stuff that he wanted us to do we were really super interested in. I feel like that was almost the problem. But at the same time, we were just young and didn't understand it. But now that they've like instilled that work ethic in us from a young age, we can both go and work for the things that we want and the things that we need. And it's not like this whole new world. Like we turned 16 and we have just been dumped with responsibility because we wanted to get our driver's license. So it was definitely annoying when we were kids because it felt like they didn't want us to be kids. But now that we're transferring into the life of being an adult and whatnot,
Now they want
it's
us
a
to
lot
be
better.
kids with
Yeah.
them.
That is really funny, right? Because now you guys probably do your own thing, and
It
they're
is
like,
funny.
Where are you guys at?
It is.
They're like, do you really have to work this weekend? We're gonna go up north.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
I
so funny.
mean, Jen Lawton was at our house last night. She's like, "Oh, are you going up north?" No, I was up north last weekend. I have to work this weekend. You're funny.
Yeah. Well, what kind of stuff did they talk to you about that you felt like was a lecture that, like, you know, being interested in what they do for work or just like, the things you had to do around the house?
It was always about like if your stuff isn't done the first time the right way when you get asked, there's consequences. So like
It was if you leave the milk out, you're gonna end up homeless.
You still do that.
you still do that.
You'll
No,
be
it
like a
would-
picture on the carton.
It was, I feel like this was the most annoying part about it. It would be like little things that didn't have anything to do with like work ethic. Like the dog would poop in the house and it would all of a sudden turn into like, you don't work hard enough for what you have and
So
you need to
you're gonna
blah,
get
blah,
the dog
blah. And I'm like,
put down.
where did this come from? Like
That's
this is
awesome.
the dog's fault, not mine.
That's so funny. When did you guys feel like you got to a point where you kind of got it, like where you could really understand what your mom and dad were doing day in and day out, that they were like running their own businesses? I mean, did you guys ever have that moment where you kind of realized like, whoa, you
I
know?
think a lot of it hit me last year while I was
Wow.
working in the warehouse last summer, was when a lot of it started to like click. Like, hey, the reason they did this is so that now I can understand. Like, I was working in a moving warehouse for $12 an hour for 4 months last summer, from May to August. Basically putting people's furniture like in storage, taking it out, putting it in trucks. But like, dude, if you don't do that the right way the first time, you're gonna have to redo it. So
Right.
like repacking that stuff, it takes like 20 minutes to pack up a couch the right way. Do you really want to spend 20 minutes 3 times
I mean, that would take
doing
me,
it
like,
the
the
right
whole
way?
day.
Exactly.
What else did you realize when you were down there with the people that you worked with?
I
really hot
don't
in
want to be.
Arizona.
I don't want to be working like that the rest of my life.
Well, you also saw a lot of work ethic or a lack
I did,
of work
and
ethic.
I feel like that's where like my work ethic finally clicked. Like, hey, if I put my mind to something, I can do it, and I can do it well. And I ended up getting a promotion where I was like an assistant
Dock manager.
Yeah, whatever.
Promotion's a promotion.
Yeah, right. I got paid
Everyone makes
$13
fun of him because like his friends worked at the same place, and he got promoted to dock manager, which I don't know what the difference was between that and what they were doing.
There wasn't. It was just more money, and I got to boss them around.
Yeah, so everyone, so he would go home with his
Exactly.
friends and boss them around like he would at work, and everyone would just call him dock manager.
But I had to
still does.
I had to pay taxes.
His Instagram handle at Doc Manager.
Yeah,
No, I don't think that's much better than Charger 2K13.
Okay, that's not even it. That's my Snapchat. If anyone wants to add
And
that.
you'll never be able to change it.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's
well,
so funny.
What's been some of the conversation around social media with you guys?
Don't post
I
something
hate
you're
it.
gonna regret,
Honestly,
man.
like it's social media is really like weird. At least for me, like my opinion on it is just weird because like obviously I use it a lot more than I should.
Chase consumes the shit out of it.
Oh my gosh, and it's so bad, and I hate that I do because it's just mindless entertainment. Like it's like watching
Yeah.
a freaking what's it called that just came out? Godzilla vs Kong. It's just hours and hours of mindless entertainment just to fill time. And I know that there's so many better things that I could be doing with that time, which is like why like Saturday I'm working a 16-hour shift. That's why I like doing things like that, because that's so much more productive than sitting on my phone on TikTok after I get off at 2 p.m. and not doing anything important. Like it's just, and it just teaches you like so many bad habits. Like we talked about this at dinner a while ago, like the instant gratification of being able to scroll down, you laugh at something within a couple seconds, and then you do it again over and over and over and over. And it's just like, it's just like programming us almost to just only do those things when we're getting instant gratification. And I feel like that's what's going to like almost be the downfall of our generation. Like, I watched 100%. It a while ago when I was doing some school. But there's a documentary on Netflix called The Social Dilemma. And like after it, I thought it was really good. Just a lot of the stuff that they talked about and a lot of the strategies a lot of the social media companies use. Turned all my notifications off, got rid of Instagram because I just never really used it and stuff like that. And it's just been like I felt myself even just from turning notifications off, because it's a big step just to get rid of all that. After having it like be such an influential part of everyone's life, really. But just turning notifications off, I find myself off my phone a lot more and just doing more productive things.
Was there a time in your life? I know we had conversations about the social proof of when somebody liked. Was there a time in you guys' life when that was really important, that kind of you felt it?
Like people liking your
Yeah.
posts and stuff like that.
It gave you a self-worth?
I never really felt like that. Like, I don't really even post on, like, Instagram or Snapchat or anything like that. I use it to see what my friends are doing and to see what people are up to. And I really only post a couple times a year, and it's, like, heartfelt stuff. Like, I posted for your birthday.
Right.
And that was, like, a long message. And stuff like that. Like, I don't really post just to get likes. Like, it's not one of those things. I'm not even like that good looking of a person, so it doesn't really matter to me that I post on Instagram, because I don't even like, there's no reason. Like, you have a following, you're trying to grow your space and be an influencer, so you post multiple times a day, and like you're looking to see statistics of who's liking your pictures, who's looking at it, who's reading it, stuff like that. Whereas for us, we could care less. I know there's people our age that really care, and they try to post and have the whole aesthetic and like be that person that's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing this right now, I'm on the beach, whatever. It doesn't matter. Like, at least to us, it doesn't matter how many likes you get on your Instagram post, your views on your Snapchat story. I mean, I know you had a TikTok that blew up, but we don't want to talk about that.
That's kind of unique for you guys, though, right? Like, you see, for people your age, it's kind of the opposite. They are on it a lot more.
They
Like, it's
want
important to
they
them.
want the gratification
Yeah.
of this
Showing.
many people liked it.
Yeah,
But how many people actually like you as a person?
right.
It's one of those things, like, I could care less about, oh, I got 100 likes on my Instagram post. Cool. It wasn't really for that. It was for me to express what I was feeling and
Right.
what I was going through and stuff like that.
Like that's exactly what it is. It's like it's a cool factor. Like me and one of my friends, like he said, we made a TikTok, it blew up, it got like 3 million something views and like a couple 100,000 likes, and it was like it was cool. No one really cared, but like instead of something like that where a bunch of people think I'm funny or think I'm cool or whatever, and like 500,000 people that I don't know thinking that I'm so cool or so funny, I'd rather have my 2 parents that I've known for the last 16 years
What is happening
tell
right
me
now?
It just when he's
I'm listening, Chase.
no,
just
here's
so you know.
no, here's TikTok. Here's the funny thing. So Christian comes in and he's like, Chase made this
Chase is
TikTok.
like in the middle of telling us.
I know, no, but it all stems back to this because it just his humor. Christian comes in, he's like, my brother's funny. He's like, he makes this TikTok. It's like 3 million people, but nobody knows who he is because his TikTok name is Helen Keller.
no.
Well,
but
now
so-
everybody knows. Well, at least.
But so like that's cool. But I'd rather like that's just a cool factor. Like you can say like, oh, I got a bunch of views on a TikTok.
He wasn't
But I would
trying
rather
either.
I would rather have my 2 parents that have known me for 16 years see that I'm working hard 40 something hours a week at 16 years old and paying for my own gas and just being independent and working hard and come to me and say, hey, I'm proud of you, rather than having a couple hundred people like a picture of me on Instagram. Like that doesn't give me any sort of gratification. Like, yeah, it's cool, but what are you gaining from it? Like,
Right.
obviously some people can monetize that once it gets big enough and that becomes their whole industry, is that social media stuff, which is awesome. I love that people can do that. But just as kids, if you find self-worth
You got it.
in the people that don't really know you or care about you, just tapping on a screen, then you really have to you need to take a look at what you're doing with your life and realize that that's not important.
Totally. Well said.
Good.
Super
Yeah.
mature.
Yeah.
Do you guys think that social media or any kind of digital media will be more important to you as you guys develop into whatever careers you're going to choose?
No.
No?
No. The only reason I say no is if you don't care about it now, you're not going to care about it later. Like,
Interesting.
you could honestly, I mean, think about it. I don't really care about how many likes I get on Instagram. I feel like if I wanted to be in the space that other people are in, it would kind of matter. But I'm not trying to be some big influencer with millions of followers and then have something screw it up and throw it all away, basically.
Right.
It's a material possession, basically. You can see, oh, you have 700, 800,000 followers, something like that. You could post one thing. The whole thing is, you're over. You're canceled. Look at David Dobrik, for example.
I think the best example of that, and I was talking earlier about it, about live streams and things like that. If you look at this happened to PewDiePie a while ago. He said the N-word on a stream and got totally destroyed from it. He obviously came back and he's still doing well now, but you grow that following and now everyone is watching you so closely, and the smallest slip up can absolutely ruin your life. Because now you've ruined your social media career, but then you try to go get a different job. A lot of these people that become influencers went to college for this or went to college for that, and no company wants someone that just had 4 million people watch them do this stupid thing working for them.
Right.
So now you've built this following and it's awesome and you're making great money, but then you slip up and it's all over.
Well, I think that's the thing that we've talked about multiple times
Yeah.
is being cautious on your social because,
You have to.
Bernie, I assume in your business in the title industry, my business, you're now looking at people's social to see what kind of impact they could have
Yeah.
on your business, or do you want that reputation? Because what they're doing on social is a direct impact. And I'm sure that people out there that are hiring real estate agents and things like that, they're looking to see what type of person that is. I mean,
100%.
that is the cool thing about social, is that you can kind of get to know somebody to see if you want to work with them and see, that piece of
Recon.
it, do
I
the
call it
recon on it.
Do you
I feel like the other end of that though is people can be whoever they want to be on social media.
Sure.
On social media,
100%.
you only see what
you
you
want
want people to see.
Yeah.
If I go on Christian's social media and he wants to look like some hard ass or something like that, he can make himself look like that even if he's nothing like that.
Yeah.
So people people will make themselves who they want to be on social media, and like that's not going to account for like actually spending genuine time with these people and getting to know them. So that could either help someone, like if someone wants a job in real estate, they can only post on their social media about all the things that they know about real estate, even if they're not good with, like if they're not a people person, they're not going to be good with real estate, but they can post how much they know about investing and about all this other stuff. And so you're going to see that as, okay, this person knows what they're doing, but maybe they suck with people, or they have a short temper, or things like that.
Or they really don't know what they're doing.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys should watch this documentary. It's called Fake Famous. Have you heard of it?
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's really good. It's about how people get fake famous through social, and they have,
Maybe we should try it.
it's pretty fun. It's really
We could probably
bananas,
get fake
actually.
famous.
Yeah.
Probably.
What's the biggest impact or influence that you would say Mom and I had as to where you guys are at right now?
What do you
Cars.
mean by that?
The cars.
The cars.
I'm super into cars. I feel like I could almost say that I'm the most into cars out of our family. And seeing like, especially with you, like how your cars have grown over the years. The first car I remember you having
The
is the
V6
Chrysler 300.
It was a
V6. It was like, and
It's all I could afford. We were broke.
I know, but here's the thing. I saw you get that, and then you went to a Challenger, and then you got a newer Charger, and then you got another newer Challenger, and then you went to the CTSV.
You forgot the truck.
Oh, well, the truck
Yeah, we
was
leave
there
that
for
one
like
out.
40
That was a dumb
seconds.
decision.
He like drove it off the lot and then drove it right back to the lot. It's like, never mind, this doesn't fit in my garage.
It almost didn't either. That's the funny part.
But so, and as I saw you progress, and as I saw you like almost, and now I look back at it, and you were just getting better and doing better and progressing in your life, and I see that as like a motivation. Like right now, I'm driving my $5,000
Your DAW truck?
my Mazda truck.
That's a $10,000 truck, dude. We just put a new motor in it.
Yeah. your 2001 Mazda truck costs more than my
and moving up
Focus at
from
this
those
point.
things and things like that, like that's kind of the motivation that I've seen. In like, it's a physical thing that you can see as you grew as a person, and as your business grew and things like that, you're getting, like, your cars were moving up with you almost, and that's something that I can relate to. And now you've got the Escalade and the Mustang, and I know you're talking about getting a Hellcat soon, and things like that.
There's some things before we get to the Hellcat.
But just things like that, like that's one of my biggest motivations, is like I want to be able to indulge in the things that I enjoy, which are cars. I want to be able to either build cool cars or buy cool cars, and I have to have the job and the work ethic to support that hobby, and that's kind of my motivation behind it, because that's something that'll give me enjoyment out of life and make life like actually worth living.
So well, don't make life worth living with
not
cars,
like
please.
that, yeah.
Fulfillment.
Let's back up a little bit talking about cars. What was your lesson with cars as far as how you got them? Well, were you given cars?
No.
Were you given expensive cars?
No.
Were you given anything?
I mean, the truck was kind of expensive when it came down to it.
Yeah,
but no, we
both
weren't.
ours were.
We weren't given cars. We were, from the time we were in kindergarten. You gave us each $100 for graduation, right? $100 kindergarten graduation. Okay, cool. $100 is a lot.
That's a lot of money
for a 7-year-old.
Yeah.
Holy
You were
crap,
7 when you were in
$100.
Still a lot
kindergarten?
of money.
Dude, 6 or 7, I don't know. But no, $100 is a lot. You said, okay, you can either put this in a savings account or you can spend it. Put it in a savings account, right?
I didn't get that choice.
Yeah, you did.
No, he just took me to Walmart and chucked it in his Chase account. He's like, here's $100. You're never going to see it.
It wasn't Chase at the time. It was Desert Schools.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then as we got older, you go through your grades, and if you got A's, you got, was it $10, $20 an A, right? You get $20 an A, and all the grade money, you can either choose to spend some of it, you can save it. You're never going to see the money if you just put it in savings. If you didn't have it in the first place, you don't need it.
It's like putting it into stocks.
Exactly. So I just let all my grade money go in there, and then if I got birthday money, I'd spend a little bit of it, but the rest in savings. And he would match us with whatever we got. So by the time I turned 15 and a half, I had 5.5 or 5,500 saved. He matched it, so I had 11. I didn't know what kind of car I wanted. That was the one thing. I still have a hard time trying to find cars I want. It is so difficult for me.
We were having this conversation the other night.
Because you like so many of them, or because
well,
you're
it's
looking
because
for something really particular?
No, it's because I'm super particular, and then I changed my mind. I am so.
That apple didn't fall far from the tree.
We were having this conversation. It stemmed
literally
from
2 days ago.
It stemmed from like how much money we would have if we put $100 in Bitcoin when it was 1 cent a share,
Right.
and just like having
Could you
those like
imagine?
fun like dream fantasies. And it came out to like $500 million, and I'm like, what would be the first car that you buy? And he goes, a Kia Stinger. And I'm like, you'd go buy a $50,000 Kia with $5.5 million.
But what did you say you were gonna buy?
A Mustang.
And
a
what?
GT350.
How much is your GT350 when you bought it?
50 grand.
Exactly. So we
But
both
it's a
chose.
$50,000 Mustang,
Okay.
not a $50,000 Kia.
But think about it. Think about it though. This is what Mom explained to us. $50,000 car when you have $500 million. What does that say about the two of us? That means money.
Cool.
Money, no matter how big or how small the money was, we wouldn't be changing what our goals
Yeah.
were. Like
or what our personalities are.
exactly.
Yeah.
We both still picked to have a $50,000 car instead of a $500,000
Well, that's
car.
so that stems back from a book I read a long time ago when you guys were little, as The Millionaire Next Door, which is an awesome book, which he talks about. He goes through and he does these interviews with like some of the wealthiest people in the world, and most people's and we've had this conversation when you guys were growing up. Most people choose to think that the millionaire drives the fancy car, lives in the fancy house, but the
No, he has
reality
to do it.
is
No one's gonna get
that
it.
most people, which you guys have seen this firsthand, and don't mention names, but those conversations you guys have had with multiple friends that there's no telling what they're worth at the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty down to earth people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
They're
think that's
fun
really.
people.
I think that's really cool. A guy just this month bought a house with Bitcoin, $650,000 house, and he said it was his dream house. And so that goes to show you, he had like millions and millions in Bitcoin, but like his dream house was $650,000.
It's not like he's going buying a
Yeah,
$180
that's like
million
everybody's like, oh
house
my
in
god, that's
LA
his
or
dream house.
something
It's
like
like
that.
$600,000 house, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, it says a lot about still having the
Character.
same, taste, character, the whole
Exactly.
nine. Just because you end up having more money doesn't mean that you change all those things.
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd buy a house with Bitcoin though, because at the end of the day, if you're trading Bitcoin for a house and that Bitcoin skyrockets again, you just
But he
Yeah, but
didn't
you know
spend
what?
all his Bitcoin,
Oh,
and
that's
he's
true.
also preserving cash flow,
that's true.
real cash.
Okay.
And he found somebody that will actually close on a house with Bitcoin. So that says a
That's
lot
crazy,
too.
though.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah. How funny. What did you guys think, like, when you guys were struggling? Like, were you guys aware of all of that happening? And, like, do you feel like you see the differences? Like, were you guys really understanding everything that happened?
It was like 2008 that all the struggling and stuff was happening.
We were
3
and 5.
We were
Yeah.
so young that we didn't realize any of it. By the time I started, like for the earliest I remember, we were like fine, to put it. Like we weren't. I don't ever remember struggling. I think they did their best to not let
Yeah.
us remember that.
There was
They
never a
didn't-
time that they showed weakness, that they were struggling to pay bills
Yeah.
or that they were working multiple jobs. Like, how many jobs did Mom work while we were going through that?
A couple.
Couple. Yeah, we never knew Mom was working multiple jobs until a couple years ago. Like, they always made it look like we were doing okay. We were still going to private school. I was still having the most vivid memory I remember was the first time we walked into Muriel. We all sat on the staircase and you were talking about, okay, this is going to be our new house, even though we had just moved into the other one.
I don't even remember daily.
This was going to be our new house. This is where we're going to live. We are going to be here now as a family. It's closer to school, blah, blah, blah. Cool. That's what I remember, was us all standing on the wood staircase talking about it. But they never showed that we were struggling.
Yeah.
We
That's
never,
awesome.
we didn't even know that there was a time that was super like struggling until a couple years ago when they like explained it to us.
So you guys got to like hear like the from beginning to end, like
Yeah.
everything that you guys.
What was going on.
Yeah,
Like
wow.
I know they're like, one of your guys' memories from that time was like, even though you guys were struggling, it was the treasure chests or like the chests with like the dress up clothes.
That
and
was
stuff
the
like that.
first In fact, there's a funny picture of Chase. That's one of our favorite
There's
pictures
a lot
of
of funny
Chase.
pictures of me.
There is. But you were much cuter back then.
Wow.
Gosh.
But that was the Christmas that we had just lost our house to foreclosure, and we moved into a rental, and we could afford two things for Christmas. It was a fake Christmas tree, and it was a small one, but the other one had broken, or we sold it because we couldn't take it with us because it was like a 12-foot fake tree. And this dress-up treasure chest that had like the pirate, the police officer,
cool.
and the other thing.
The firefighter.
And Chase was running around with the pirate thing on, and I think he was about 3 at the time, maybe 2.
And I feel like not necessarily that all the struggling was like good for us as kids, but I feel like the fact that we got so little and we're still so happy with it, because like you can give kids anything, like little kids, at least you used to be able to. Now they've got freaking iPads and everything. That all pisses me off.
Yeah.
But like you could give us the smallest thing and we'd be grateful for it. And I feel like that doing that from a young age, it always taught us to be like very grateful for what we have and like, but also to always want more. Not in a sense of like, not like a bratty wanting more, but like that we had to earn more. And there was always a sense of having to earn something in our household. But it's like there was always being grateful for what we got, and even if it was only like the one chest of dress up clothes, we were still grateful for it, and we were still happy with it, and we still had so much fun with it. And I feel like that was like a good lesson that we really like learned and took from, and still like learn today. Like we're always grateful for the things we have, especially when we work for them, and that makes it more enjoyable. To always and never be satisfied, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Have you guys always gotten along?
No. This is a
This is
recent
so
thing.
funny. You guys are like,
this
no.
this is a new thing where we actually figure out how to get along.
We don't have to drive anymore, and we don't share a room anymore, so now we actually like each
gosh.
other.
You guys remind me of me and my sister. We're 16 months apart, and we didn't really become friends until we were like young adults.
Until we never saw each other
So
anymore.
we never,
Exactly.
we didn't have to share a room anymore. I didn't have to drive her around or take her with me places.
Exactly. No,
Yeah.
we're 23 months apart. And we decided a couple years ago it'd be fun because we have the big room in the back of our house that used to be a
The
2-car
compound.
garage.
When they got this office.
When they got this office 5 years ago, we decided 3 years ago that we were going to turn their old office into our new bedroom. So we had this
Nice.
big 600 square foot garage that was the coolest hangout room, and now I don't have to share it with him. And well, it
We've
was
only got 2 friends.
You guys are
What am I
never
supposed to do
moving
with
out,
that?
are you?
no. We'll move out eventually.
He doesn't, I will.
I mean, I like my apartment back
I know.
there.
You
though.
have like a compound.
I could probably remodel it, make it into an actual apartment, like put my own kitchen back there, maybe a bathroom.
I know somebody that can do that.
I was just saying.
Yeah, I do
hire your
too.
Mom.
I mean, I don't think she'd want work going on in her house again, though. The
Once
backyard's
Once the
enough.
backyard and the Chevelle are done, so.
Yeah, once the Chevelle is done.
What do you think? Did you guys feel that? And I know it was hard to comprehend at the time, but now that you're older, do you feel that the sacrifices were worth it? Like when we had conversations like, hey, I've got to work later, mom's got to work late so that we can do these things. Do you kind of see where that?
No, I completely understand that now. Just from coming from where now we have to work late or we have to pull extra shifts and stuff like that to help out.
Not necessarily that we have to.
We don't have to, but it's like to be able to help out.
We have that drive, though.
We understand what it means to give up time to hang out with our friends, to work a little bit more, to make a little bit more money for the things that we want. Like, I haven't spent an entire paycheck that I've gotten from Dutch yet.
Mm-hmm.
I opened a savings account the day after my birthday. So I
How
went
much is in your savings account right now?
4,000,
Yeah,
Awesome.
which is
more than me.
whatever. I have 4,000 that I've saved since March 4th,
That's
basically.
amazing. There's a lot of like people who don't have that at all.
And I
don't have
also
$40.
feel like it's
Yeah.
like taught us like that the quality of your time is more important than like the quantity. Like, would you rather have like one like nice Escalade that you'll be able to drive for the next 10 years and it'll like treat you well as long as you treat it well? Or would you rather have 18 little shit boxes in your driveway that don't run. So basically our house.
My gosh.
Do you guys,
The quality of your time is so much more important. I'd rather spend one night with my friends and all hang out and go and enjoy and have the money to enjoy that and spend all the other days in that 2-week period working and making that money and actually enjoy that time rather than only work 3 days a week and have all this time to spend with my friends, but all we do is sit around and play Xbox.
yeah. Do you feel like you like to work because you want to earn money for certain things, or is it just in general you want to be prepared for the future, or you want to start young, or is it a little bit of everything?
Me right now, I mean, I just started saving money because I looked back at my pay stub from last summer.
It's all good.
I looked back at my pay
I
stub
am a
from
saver
last
too.
summer, and I made $8,000 last summer and didn't save
Yeah.
a penny of it.
Oh, wow.
So looking
You had
at
a
it
good
now,
summer.
I did. I had a really good summer of eating out and getting fat. And yeah. So now I'm working at a place that I actually really enjoy working at. Like, I love working for Dutch Bros. It is
Cool.
like the most fun job with the most fun, down to earth people that you just get to enjoy and dance and laugh and have fun at while you work all day.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. Everyone calls it a cult. It's not a cult. It's just fun.
Sounds like something someone in a cult would say.
Totally. Right?
But
It's not a cult, I swear.
Drink this.
we're the caffeine cult when it comes down to it. But no,
That's just changed their franchising policies.
they did.
Yeah.
So the owner of the ones on the West Valley is the only person that's still allowed to openly franchise because he
Wow.
owns all 8 of them.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because like I have a goal right now. I decided recently that I'm gonna keep my car because it only has 96,000 miles on it.
Oh.
I bought it with 80,000 miles last June, and I've put 15 on it
Wow.
since then. But I've decided I'm gonna keep my car because I want to get a Kia Stinger. Like, that's like an achievable dream or goal that I could
Right.
have in the next 12 months. And what I'm doing for that is basically living off what I know I can live off of. I know I can live off
My
$300.
debit card.
So, like, when you say you know what you can live off of, is that you've like consciously put together, like articulated a budget,
No.
or just in
No.
general you're
I
like
just-
in your head? I know that
I know I can
I
live
can
off
live
of,
off of $20 a week.
I
or-
can live off of $300 every 2 weeks.
Coffees.
right.
I can live off of $300 every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Which goes into gas once or twice a week, depending on how much I drive.
And how heavy your foot is.
And if I want to go out to eat, if I want to take my girlfriend on a date, there's money in there for that.
That's
if
the
I need,
$300 right there, bro.
if I need money for some new shorts or some new shoes for work or something like that, that's in there. But the rest of it's been going into savings.
Okay.
Because I get paid every 2 weeks.
So you work to really work towards earning money for goals, and some of them might be things that you want for yourself
Exactly.
or savings for the future.
Exactly.
Okay.
And the
Even
nice,
though you're never moving out.
well, I'm gonna have to at some point. It might just be into Mom's workshop.
There you go.
She never uses it. No.
Awesome.
Chase, what are you working for, or saving for right now?
I'm kind of on like a. I know you're basically gonna make me keep that truck until I'm 30 because we just put a new motor in it. So I'm kind of like almost like short-term saving right now. Like right now I'm saving for wheels and tires, and like I've just been trying to be like a little bit more conscious of my spending, which
Oh my God, you guys are so funny.
Says
you
the
don't
kid
need
that
to,
bought.
you don't need to talk right now.
What did you
Okay,
buy?
so
Something happened.
okay, I did this. Okay, he's not gonna be very happy with me.
Oh boy,
But-
this is gonna come out on the podcast, so I haven't heard about this
I'm
yet.
dying right
It's,
now.
it was just yesterday.
Oh,
me and Maddie.
I have
Let me
to
talk.
tell the
Let me
story.
talk. Okay. Me and Maddie went to the mall last night, and we were just like screwing around.
You bought a puppy.
No, I
No.
bought a Lego set, and not a cheap one. Just
Buy
because
the
I
Death
wanted
Star.
to.
No,
Yeah.
he bought this 200.
Legos?
He
I
bought
did,
a
'cause I still
$250
enjoy Legos.
Lego
Yeah.
set last night, and it's this. He calls me. I'm in the
Okay,
back. I'm in the.
Legos. They get so upset. They used to get so upset when we would ask for Legos at like 12, 13 years old because we had big bins of them, and they wanted us to just like use our imagination to play with them. But like, I like to build like the sets and have like cool things like that are actually like cool things.
Like, you build
and so
it
they
and you
would
wanna
get
keep
super
it.
upset. So now when I spend my own money on it, I have like this. It's like Legos are like my
a
guilty
guilt.
pleasure. Like I still really enjoy Legos every once in a while, but I feel like they get mad. So like bringing Legos into the house is
Because
like
I'm such a violent person.
no. So bringing Legos into the house is like sneaking in drugs or girls.
He calls me last night
That's
at like
funny.
9:30 on his way home. He's like, "Hey," I'm like, "What?" He's like, "What if I hypothetically bought a Lego set?"
Like every conversation goes.
Here's the funny thing. It's
You
like,
didn't let me finish my story,
no,
man.
no.
This
I'm
is
gonna
gonna break,
interrupt.
this thing's huge though. It's gonna take me like 15 hours to build.
What
It's
is
gonna be
it?
so fun.
It's a
It's a like Lego model of like an NES, but like the screen like rotates and plays like a level of Mario
Man.
and everything. It's so cool. I thought it was really
But here's the cool
Goes a long
thing.
way.
Number one, I would never be mad about it. That's your choice. You
Yeah.
worked for it. So, we talk about, we equate like, how many hours did you have to work for that Dutch Brothers or to go out to eat? Like, you guys have all
I
had
got
those
it for
lessons,
free.
right? But Legos were something early on that I used
Yeah.
to buy for 3 hours of quiet time until these little bastards got really good at them. And you're like, I just spent $200 in Legos and they were done in 15
but like
minutes.
Legos have always been like the most expensive toys you could ever buy.
Yeah.
I mean,
stupid little
I
pieces
feel
of
like
plastic,
they're
man.
expensive.
But
No,
they
like,
were they were something that I look back at, and they were great memories. We did
Yeah.
them together,
That's so
and
awesome.
And like me and Maddie, like I bought this one with her, and she's gonna come over when she's done with school, and we're gonna sit there and build Legos
Lego
together.
together.
Yeah.
okay. So how many 16-year-old boyfriend and girlfriends do you know, that are
know.
like, oh, we're gonna?
They
put
have
Legos
Lego
together?
dates like once a month.
That's
For
cool.
Valentine's Day, we went and we got a I don't know why, but she really likes dinosaurs, so we got this like dinosaur fossil Lego set and went to the park, laid down a blanket, sat at the park, and built Legos.
Nice.
I think the funniest part of the story was he calls me while I'm in the bathroom. And he's like, "Hey, would
Why do you
hypothetically,
answer your phone in the bathroom? That's my question.
hypothetically,
If I FaceTimed
I
you,
bought-
would you still have answered?
no." He's like, "Yes, I would have." Hypothetically, I bought a $250 Lego set, and hypothetically, I need to put it by your bedroom window so mom doesn't see it while she's putting the dogs to bed.
So how long does it take you to make that back up from a dollar perspective?
Well, so I thought about it, and I picked up like a double shift on Saturday.
Yeah, you mentioned that
and
earlier.
and that's all going to be overtime because I was
Yeah.
already scheduled for 40 hours this week. So I'm like that overtime pay is basically covering that whole Lego set. So it was kind of like one of those things where it's like I just want to like unnecessarily spend some money right now because I feel like it, and this is something that's going to like it's not like something stupid that's going to
Right.
last me like 5 minutes
No.
and then I'm going to throw it away. Like it's like a freaking I looked at they gave me like 2 full-length novels to put this thing together. Like that's how big the instructions are.
It was like
It's a big
25
Lego
bags
set.
But I
too.
think
Yeah.
that's the coolest thing is that's why we work, right? We should
Yeah.
work towards being able to get the things that bring us joy, that are fun, that we really do something for us, right?
Yeah.
So in your case, it happens to be Legos.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
you buy Can-Ams and cabins, so why can't I buy Legos?
right.
Can-Ams and cabins.
You're
Yep.
building your big Legos right now up
I
north.
buy
Exactly.
purses.
Yep.
I
We
don't
all
really
have something.
But
that we want.
here's the
buy
lesson in that.
anything, man.
that I hear, that you've learned, which I'm extremely proud of, is that you said, I want to go buy this $240 Lego set, and I can go pick up a shift to pay for
Yeah.
the thing that I wanted.
Totally.
And that's everything, right? It's something that I'm so grateful that you guys picked up, that, if you want something, go to work.
Yeah.
And it's the thing that, it drives me crazy about so many things in society right now about people want things, but they're really not willing to work for it. You can talk about it a lot, but you're not willing to go to work for it. Or you're not willing to, Dave Ramsey says the best, when you're broke, go to work, right? When you want something, you want to drive something, you go to work and you work at it.
Yeah.
It's not well, this sucks, so I quit. Christian, we've had those, you didn't really like working at Top Golf, but it's not because it sucked. It just, you didn't care for it, but you gave your notice, you did the right thing, and you tried it. And that's the whole point. And, you've got to try different things. I think it's funny to think about, what was your first job minimum? What was your minimum wage on your first job per hour?
$3.35.
Yeah,
What?
mine too.
$12.60.
Yeah.
My first was $10.50, but now I make $12.15 plus
tips.
tips. So it's like $20 to $30 an hour
I think the thing that is important
to make coffee.
to me, and I think that it's it was always important. You guys wonder why the lectures and things like that is because I wanted to make sure that you guys contributed to society as a whole.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You weren't sitting at home, or, I grew up with kids, and that may be why I was so not hard on you guys, but it was important to me that even though we had money and, we do well, I didn't want you guys thinking like everything was just going to be handed to you, like some of the kids that I saw in high school, because
some of the kids we know.
They were really screwed up at the end of the day, and nor could they find their way out of a freaking paper bag.
I see it as like there's two things. Like one, like I see a lot of our like kids around us and things like that. Like when I have adult money, I'm gonna get this. When I have adult, like how are you gonna get said adult money? Like I hear that phrase so often, and it honestly like upsets me. Like I hear him say it all the time.
Adult money.
He's like, when I get adult money, I'm gonna mod this Charger and I'm gonna put a wide body kit on it. And I'm like, well, how are you going to get that $100,000 adult money to build this Charger that you want?
I'm working on it
because of you guys and how you guys have raised us and things like that. You have like taught us not to wait on your success, but to like go after your success. And that's one of the biggest things that I've seen. Like I'm not going to sit around and wait for myself to have enough money to get a cool Mustang or something like that. I'm going to go out and work 45 hours a week and save for this Mustang, or go out and work 80 hours a week to build a business, to build wealth, to get these things that I want that will bring me adult money, basically. Yeah. Like not sitting around and waiting for it, because that's just what I see in a lot of people, especially kids, that they want to wait until they see their adult life, like they see their parents making enough money to buy new cars and things like that, and they don't understand that you don't turn 18 and all of a sudden have a job that pays you $60,000 a year and you can go out and buy a new car. Like that's not how it works. Yeah. And I like what you said about like you saw a lot of kids in high school when their parents handed them things. Like I feel like that just sets your kids up for failure in life. Like if your kids, like I look at some other like kids that I know and kids that like families that we know and stuff like that, and they just give their kids whatever they want. Like now your kids expect everything to be given to them, and they're not going to understand that at a certain point they have to work for those things, and you're setting your kids up to fail.
From the second you put that iPad in front of your 2-year-old's face, you're setting them up, man. Because then they're gonna expect a phone when they turn 7 or 8. They're gonna expect the car when they turn 16. They're gonna expect.
My kids are very opinionated.
I mean, think about it. We didn't have iPads when we were that age.
They didn't exist.
They didn't exist until we were. I think I was 7 when you got.
No, but there's a time and a place for it.
Yeah,
right.
There is,
and there's nothing wrong with like obviously like spoiling your like not spoiling, but like giving people things like just for enjoyment and like just like you buy us stuff sometimes just because it's fun and you want to like give us a gift. Like Christmas, we get spoiled to hell for Christmas. Like there's no doubt about it. But throughout the rest of the year, like if I want something new in my truck, like I just spent $1,400 on a sound system because I wanted it, and I went out and I worked for it and I saved for it. And that was great. Like we cleaned out that nasty house, and that $700 went towards my sound system.
But there's also times where, like last week, mom calls. She's like, "Hey, you want to go shoe shopping with me?" Sure. I needed a pair for work, and then she bought them for me because I needed them. Like
some of that comes from this. You guys are doing the right things, and you get rewarded because you're working hard and you're doing those things. And I think you give people the opportunity to bless you because you are doing the right things, and rather than looking for the handout.
Well, I think it's because we're willing to do it ourselves first. Like I was on my phone putting money into my account so that I could buy those shoes. Right. And Mom said, "Don't worry about it. I got you this time." Yeah. Like you guys know we're willing to do it ourselves.
You actually expect to do it yourselves.
Exactly.
Like, and that's amazing.
It's like the same thing like when I was like in between getting my license and getting my job, and like Mom knew that I applied for a place, I went to the interview, I was ready for the interview, like I sat there and practiced with her for a couple hours doing questions. None of the questions she asked me ended up on the interview. They were really weird questions. there was even a math test.
Mom is a really funny fake interviewer, though.
Yeah, but so, and like all of that stuff, like she knew I was trying and she knew I was doing the right thing, going out and getting a job because I'm 16 and now I have a car and a license and there's certain responsibilities that I have to uphold. So she was willing to help me. And when I got my first paycheck and went to pay her back, she was like, no, don't worry about it.
Awesome. Yeah.
So it was that I was trying, I was going to basically pay her back for the money that she loaned me almost, and she's like, you did the right thing, you're working hard now, you're going to training, you're doing well, you're doing all these things, so don't worry about it. Like, it's not just the money that you're getting from working, at least in our situation. Other people are also rewarding you with things, like, and I feel like that can also be like transferred into your business. Like, you get almost rewards from the people that you work with in terms of like relationships and other business and things like that. Like a lot of the people that you know and that are friends with and things like that, it all comes from business and the relationships that you've built with them. And a lot of your business comes from other business. Like those are like those rewards that aren't money.
Right. They're not monetary.
Yeah.
So let's open up another can of worms about education, school, and
What's school?
I mean,
I haven't
everything's
walked in a
changed.
classroom in 15 months. What are you talking
I know,
about, man?
but everything's changed for you guys in this last 15 months since, the world change of the pandemic. But what do you guys feel you've been robbed at all of school, or do you feel that this has been better for you, worse for you? What's
For me, honestly, I feel like Centennial didn't even get a prom this year. So I wasn't really worried about it. They didn't do a homecoming dance. They didn't do anything.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I was robbed of any social events or anything like that.
Well, you were, but you weren't. Like you didn't get to go to them because they didn't exist. It's not like you didn't get to go to them because you didn't go to Centennial.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
But like, I didn't get to go to Jordan's prom with her because they didn't allow outside guests. That kind of sucked, but
right?
I wouldn't have been to go if I went to Centennial either. I feel like because of the school we've been doing, it's been easier for us.
What are you doing right now?
We're
for
doing
school?
ed options, so it's basically 2 classes every 8 weeks, and when you're done with those 2, you can do them as fast or as slow as you want in those 8 weeks.
Or they can change your time frame so that way it forces you to get them done faster.
Yeah, like Mom just switched ours to 6 weeks.
I switched mine to 6 weeks.
Oh, Mom switched mine to 6
You
weeks.
just suck, so she switched yours to 6 weeks.
Whatever. But I feel like, for me, honestly, I like it a lot more because I'm able to work the shifts that not a lot of other kids are able to work, which makes it, because I work the longest shift out of the day, basically. I work that, like, it's basically 11 to 7 almost, with like time it takes to set up and time it takes to restock and recoup for everyone else. But it's allowed for me to be an adult in a sense of working that full week, doing what you need to do outside, and then having your social life too.
Right.
Because I basically do school on my days off. I go to the gym when I'm done with work, and I get my stuff done, whether it's right before the deadline or in the beginning. Usually it's right before the deadline.
You get it done.
I'm like my mom. I procrastinate until literally the last second. Like,
what about you, Chase?
I like it because like a lot of my shifts are like 4:30 to noon. Like I can get up that early and go to work and still have the rest of the day and work on school and things like that. Like I got all evenings shifts for next week and I'm not happy about it. But like he said, like a lot of teenagers that go to school, you're getting off at 2:30 and you're competing at wherever you work for these shifts, and you're only going to get 3 or 4 6-hour shifts. Like I look at Maddie, she's working 2 days a week and they're 4-hour shifts. Right. Like that's not going to get you anywhere. And I know that you have like, this is what Mom's been trying to tell me, like you have your whole life to work, but like at the same time, like I feel like I'm not learning when I'm in school. I've never been learning when I go to school. I'm taking in the information and then dumping it on the test and forgetting about it. Like that's my problem with school, is you're not learning anything. And I'd rather not learn anything in 2 hours or 6 hours a week than 35 hours a week.
Facts.
In a setting with a bunch of kids that I don't like, and especially now, there's no fun things about high school right now. Like Centennial used to have fun assemblies and fun football games and things like that. And like
all about.
that's what high school is all about, is like the high school experience. And once it goes back to normal, like my goal right now is to get all my core classes done so I can go to school and screw around and do all my electives and just have fun with high school and have fun with my friends and things like that. But right now it's not high school. It's just mind-numbingly boring lesson, test, test. And I don't want to do that. Like right now I'm a teenager and I don't have as many responsibilities as I will be when I move out and I have to pay my rent and my bills and pay for all my own stuff. And like, I don't have as many responsibilities. So I'd rather go and work 45 hours a week, get a $700 paycheck and go and be able to blow that money on Legos.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool. That's great. So you guys are getting to a point now where you're probably starting to think about what you want to do when you are quote unquote adults, because you're already doing a lot of adult stuff, but like parents are both in real estate. Like, have you guys thought about what you guys want to do? Like what direction you're going? Like,
I've been talking about when I graduate getting my real estate license.
Me too.
And trying it at least, because why
not?
There's no harm in trying.
I just don't know who's going to mentor me on that. I don't have anyone in mind. Everyone I know kind of sucks at it. So.
Well, it's you asked that question, and there's been specific conversations with both of them, recently about what about it that it's attracting. I had to go back and try to figure out like why did I go to my dad when I got done with the automotive thing and I wanted out of it, and because I asked Chase a specific question, why does it appeal to you? Is it the lifestyle we've had? Is it the money that's associated with it? What is it? Because when I looked back at it, my parents weren't super flashy. There was no fancy cars. There was no anything that should have technically attracted to me other than seeing my dad and knowing that he was really good at it and going, well, I can learn here and I can make the stepping stone. So we've had lots of conversations about that and about the starting point of it. Like there's a lot to learn about it. I think the conversation that Chase and I had was really about Chase. Well, what did you say? It was kind of the intrigue. It was more of like the relationships that you've built with a lot of people that interests me. Like, cause I'm a people person. That's why I'm like I love QT, but I'm not loving it as much as I did because it's not social enough for me. I'm not like, freaking thousands of people walk in every shift and all I do is say hello and every single one of them ignores me 90% of the time. Like the furthest the conversation gets is asking someone how their day is and sometimes making a joke, and that's it. Like that's why I've been trying to get a job at Dutch, because like every time I go you're having an actual conversation with someone. And hey, FYI, in real estate, you're going to make all these phone calls and everybody that you say hello to is going to hang up on you.
Or you can just start asking them for your extended car warranty and then they won't hang up on you.
But it just interests me seeing all the relationships that you've built. As long as the other things like the fun cars and things like that, but it also just seems like such a I don't know what it is really that interests me, but it's just interesting how all the money works. And like we talked about it on the way up to Munns, like deciding whether you take a property as a rental or whether you sell it or whether you buy it and keep it or things like that. And like Mom went through it with me with Taylor and David's situation and building that rental portfolio and things like that. And it all just, even if it's not something I go into as a career, I know that there's a lot of lessons I can learn from just starting in it and doing it for a couple of years. And even if it's not the real estate that I don't like, now I'm better with people and building relationships with people and clients and things like that, which is a really good skill to have. And I'm better with numbers and I'm better with like decision making and things like that. Like even without being in the actual field, I feel like there's a lot of lessons that I can learn from the field specifically. And if I am good in the field and I do enjoy it, then it's clearly a great thing that you can do if you're good at it. And there's definitely a way to make a good living off of it if you're good at it. And I know that learning from you and working hard, and I know you said that like there was a lot of weeks where you worked 80 hours a week and worked from 5 a.m. to midnight. And I know that like I could do that if I had the drive for it. And having someone like you as like my mentor, I feel like I could succeed in the industry as well as enjoying it, especially like if we both got into it and doing that together as like a team almost.
As a partnership.
Yeah, like something like that. I feel like we could definitely
we're gonna have to get
enjoy
boxing
it.
gloves for the office.
Ding,
That's
ding,
my
ding.
client.
We've
No, that's my
already-
client.
We've
They're like
already,
the Altman brothers.
Right.
we've already tried that at home.
I think that's
Yeah.
so cool though, because I have always seen, I've been in this business for 19 years, but I've always seen real estate as this great lever because it's a lever to getting to whatever you want to or creating whatever you want out of it. And even if you decide to leave real estate, the lessons that you learn in it are going to like exponentially benefit anything you decide to do after that if you don't stick in it. You know what I mean? I think it's the ultimate like playground for learning about business, understanding,
Yeah.
business structure, like discipline. I mean, to be a successful realtor, you have to have really great discipline, right? I mean, at the end of the day, things just don't fall out of the sky until you build a network.
At least you don't have
And
to
then they
do
still don't fall out
dishes
of the
if you're in
sky.
real estate.
Right.
What'd you say? You don't have to do dishes?
You don't have to do
As long as
dishes.
you're married.
Oh no.
Wow.
Strike that. Wow.
Dang.
Wow.
Christian, so you turned 18 and,
Yes, sir.
a couple of days after you went and got your first tattoo.
It was the day after.
yeah.
I planned it in January.
What did you get?
I got Limitless on my arm
That's
Why?
so awesome.
because it matches. But there's a reason behind it.
What's the reason?
So when you guys were in San Diego for your birthday, for your 40th, you both got it.
You guys picked a really good drunk tattoo.
Yeah, for real. But it meant something to you guys
Smartass.
that you could come back through your challenges and you could rise up above and that you could be limitless. Me, I got it on the inside of my forearm because when I can look at it whenever I want to. Yours is on the outside. I was going to get it on the outside. Thought it would be cooler on the inside. I like it more on the inside. My why is that I'm limitless. He likes to joke and say I'm limited. But
I
Or
like
limbless.
the
You
limbless
guys
joke
are
from Trish
so-
Carver.
But
That one's way better.
I feel like my why of why I got it is because no matter what I'm going through, what kind of day I'm having, what kind of challenges are in front of me, I can push through them and I can get through them. Like right now, I started going to the gym a month ago, right? I've lost 15 pounds just from like cutting back on my eating a little bit, gaining some muscle. And anytime I feel weak or like I can't push through a set, I look at my arm and say, you can do this, you got it. And it helps me through it. And I think it's just a really good reminder of my favorite Bible verse, Philippians 4:13. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. And that was the first verse I learned because of you guys. And
Because the word no was,
the word no is not an option. It wasn't.
or I can't.
I can't and I won't, and no was never really an option in our house. And when you didn't want to eat something or you didn't want to try something new or jumping off the houseboat or doing stuff like that, no is not an option when you live with Steve Valentine. There's no checkbox that says
awesome.
no. So it's really just to push me to do things that I really wouldn't want to do. And
Kind of like the family reminder, right?
it is. It
Yeah.
is. And I hope Chase gets it too.
I probably will.
That's awesome.
I just have to get past the whole needles thing.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Chase, is that on your horizon? I mean, you're only 16.
Eventually, yeah. He's trying to get you to let me get one now.
I like
No.
Like,
it.
I don't, yeah.
I
No,
wanna get
when you're
more.
18, you can make that choice. That
Yeah.
was always my deal with you guys, is that, my forewarnment was don't do what I did and get tattoos that have no meaning. The only one that has any meaning is the one that's on my arm. The rest of them were just like, hey, I'm cool, I got tattoos. And, that wasn't the thing. And I wanted to make sure, like, you guys can get all the tattoos you want as long as there's a purpose behind them.
I literally went the day after my 18th
That's cool.
birthday.
Yeah,
My
that's
birthday's
awesome.
on March 4th. I went on March 5th and got
Yeah.
it done.
Birthdays are good tattoo days.
It is.
They really are.
I like tattoos.
Yeah.
It was very therapeutic. Well, it was very therapeutic. Like I really like it's a good pain.
It's very
it kinda-
therapeutic to have a needle on your.
You know what
is.
sucked, though, is that I didn't get to go with him to get his first tattoo because
of
they
stupid
freaking
because of
COVID.
COVID,
Yeah,
they wouldn't
that
let anybody
sucks.
be in there.
You didn't have to wear a mask in there. You could do whatever
Right.
you wanted in
Yeah.
there, but like no one could go with me. So, but my tattoo artist
you're
is really
18.
cool.
So
dude.
Yeah.
I have a
So-
I have a wrap up question
No,
here.
I still have a couple more
Oh,
questions.
oh,
well,
Yeah.
then keep going.
Yeah. So this is going to be fun. Like, okay, what is your very favorite thing about your dad?
Oh, I think it's just the spontaneous messes, man.
The spontaneous messes?
You can walk into a kitchen, just be sitting down having dinner, and by the end of it, he's spraying you with one of the kitchen faucets. Or
if we didn't get those sinks when we remodeled, we would have a much different relationship.
Their life would be so much worse.
Literally one of the first nights after our kitchen remodel was done, I think it was for someone's birthday. We were having like an ice cream social kind of thing in the kitchen. He freaking takes the ice cream and just shoves it down someone's shirt, and it started an all-out war.
There was freaking chocolate syrup and ice cream and milk.
It was just us two though. He
goldfish.
Oh,
yeah.
no way.
When Mom was in the hospital last year, we did slip and slides in the house, like human bowling with red Solo cups.
Nice.
He couldn't sleep, so
That's hilarious.
he stayed up till 4 a.m. with us.
I remember when we were getting all those like fake spam text messages about like lockdown for 14 days, like no one can leave their house, blah blah blah, and it was like we were like, and so you went to the Walmart right across from our street and bought like 16 boxes of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and you're like, we're just gonna live off of Cinnamon Toast Crunch for the next 2 weeks, and we're like, and he's like, I thought this was your guys' favorite. And I'm like, no, it's your favorite.
Shocker.
I think we still have some of that. Like,
We do.
some of that Cinnamon Toast Crunch that you bought last March.
So
Oh my
Chase,
gosh.
what was your answer to that question?
There's not enough to choose from.
doing donuts behind Peter Piper.
I have another question too, but
Probably just like the fact that like you can be a really good adult, you can be a really good adult and a really good kid. Like you can sit us down and teach us lessons about real estate all day long, but at the same time we're all sitting there eating dinner and you spray us with the hose like you just said, or we go out and rip around in the forest in Munns, but at the same time we go home that night.
I'm the most professional, unprofessional you know.
You're the most professional child ever.
It's
Yeah.
honestly funny though, because like he's never been a full adult. Like
Yeah.
as long as he's
agree with
been our
Bernie.
dad.
I was just like, I'm like,
No,
I'm
as
like,
long
Wendy
as he's
has
been our
3
dad,
boys.
he's been that like older brother almost of a kid. Like he was banned from doing field trips. Dude, he was banned from doing field trips at our old school because he started too many water wars.
Oh my god. I
So
believe it.
when I was in 4th
see
grade,
You tell me no, and the minute you tell me no, you're like, okay.
I can totally see it.
the last field trip he was able to go on for the elementary school. Oh no, it wasn't, but it was one of like the deciding factors. In 4th grade, we went to
It's the one that
Goldfield
got him
Gold
his
Mine.
trial.
And he found a water bottle in the parking lot, starts throwing it at kids, like getting them wet. On the way home, or on the way back to the school, he stops at the dollar store and gets squirt guns and gallons of water. And I had probably like the most strict teacher in
Mrs.
4th
Owen.
grade. And he gets to the school, he starts filling up water bottles
that's
in the
funny.
back of his Escalade, and he just gets in the classroom, he sets them down on the desk, he starts handing them all the kids, and we're all out. He dumps the water on my teacher. And I think that was the deciding factor that
Yeah.
he wasn't allowed to go on any more elementary school
That's
field
hilarious.
trips.
They wouldn't. I had a broken foot when we went on a trip to science camp in 5th grade. Like
They
it was
would
like a
not
week.
let me go
They
to
wouldn't let
science
him go, even though I was 3 months into being on like a scooter with a broken foot, and they still wouldn't let him go to science camp
Oh my god, that's so funny.
because he was just that
Quite
bad.
the
They're like,
reputation.
Because he was that bad.
So like then on that note, like what drives you the most crazy? Bugs you the most about him?
I think he's got a little bit too much adult sometimes. Like I
You
feel
have
like
too much adult?
I feel like sometimes there's not much of a line between like when we can be kids and all just have fun. Like they're definitely it's gotten better, but like as when we were little, he would be a little bit too like professional with us almost. Like there would be a lot of
There was a lot of conversations that you could not understand when you were
like we had no clue
That
what he was
still
saying, and he would be like upset with us in these conversations, and we would be like,
huh?
"What's a
What?
mortgage?"
That's so funny. You're
And
like,
I remember I was like probably like 10 years old, and he made me sit there and watch The Big Short with him. And I had no clue what was going on. He's like, "Look, watch. Like, do you get it? Do you get it?" Same thing with
No.
Pursuit of Happiness. I watched that movie the other day when I was at Maddie's watching her dogs, and I'm like, "Oh, this movie actually makes sense now."
I watched The Big Short the other day, or a couple weeks ago, just by myself. I was like, oh, I'm intrigued. Like, he's always talking about this. I mean, my favorite's Wolf of Wall Street, but he likes The Big Short.
So the documentary side of The Big Short is Inside Job.
It made
which
me
is really, really good.
It made me understand a lot more of what happened back in 08 when the housing market crashed and stuff like that. It made me really understand what they went through just from seeing, like, this dude bet against all of the mortgage bonds.
All of society.
All of society. This man capitalized off of it.
Yeah.
And made everyone lose everything.
Well, he didn't make anybody lose anything.
You gotta watch Inside Job.
Okay.
So
Inside Job?
Inside Job.
What's it about?
I see.
It's the documentary version of that movie.
Oh.
The movie's based in reality truth, but it's entertainment. Inside Job is a full-on documentary about everything that happened. Matt Damon hosts it.
Okay.
It's really, really, really good.
I see a lot of like you in Will Smith's character and like The Pursuit of Happiness, like going back to how like me and Christian didn't realize that we were dirt poor when we were dirt poor, and like I see a lot of him.
Well,
like,
let's get something straight. We were never dirt poor.
Okay.
But
we
were broke.
But like I see a lot of that in you, like how you never really let us realize that we had nothing. Like him with his son in that movie, he would always be like taking care of his son to the point where his son never knew that anything was wrong. Like he would never show that to his kid because he wanted his kid to have the best life, but he was still able to work hard and get to the point where he could like get his son to the point where he could have that life that he always wanted him to have. And so now that I actually like understand that movie and saw it, I really enjoyed it. And just saw a lot of you in his character, or a lot of his character in you, just from that movie.
That's nice.
I know.
Yeah.
That's why he wanted us on here. He just wanted someone
nice
to sit
little
here and
warm
talk about how
fuzzies.
cool he
I
is.
mean, I even said like what bugs them the most about you, and they like you got that.
I mean, as a younger kid, the adult conversations did bug. A lot of the lectures bugged us, and like you don't understand what he's talking about when he's yelling at you about stuff that's going on in his life. But like now at 16 and 18, if he were to have the same conversations with us,
they would
feel
actually
like
be conversations.
they'd be actual conversations.
That's cool. That's really cool.
What's what advice, this is for what you guys grew up with, conversations, whatnot. What advice would you have for parents that have kids that, 7, 8, 9, they're getting ready to go into teenage years? Like, what advice would you give to parents as far as like the things that you took away most from your childhood to now that have made the biggest impact?
Don't give them social media. Like honestly, wait as long as you can before they get Snapchat and Instagram. Like I don't think it should be a bad thing for kids to have phones, because I remember when we were 8, 9 years old and we'd go to Target and we'd be like, can we go look at the toys?
And you
it'd
get
be
lost.
And you get lost, and now you're at Target for an extra 2 hours because you're wandering around looking for mom and mom's wandering around looking for you. Like I don't give them a phone, whatever, but I think social media is just absolutely terrible for kids. And like the whole like sit on your iPad all day at home and watch YouTube, like I think that's just like, I think kids should be going and riding bikes around the neighborhood and going to the park and hanging out and doing those things with their friends and not being absorbed in this like social digital world. Like when they turn to be teenagers and that becomes like a bigger part of their life and how they connect with those friends and things like that, that's obviously way better. But like have your kid ride their bike to their friend's house down the street and knock on the door and say, hey, can he come out and ride bikes?
Have your kids live the childhood you had. You didn't have iPads and phones and stuff like that when you guys were younger. Like you guys are in your 40s. You didn't have any of this stuff.
Except for me.
You're in your 50s, whatever. You look 40.
Oh, that was nice.
That's so nice of you.
Little warm fuzzies. But no, you gave us the childhood you had. At the end of the day, you wanted us to have fun, ride bikes,
work hard,
get the cops called on us.
Yeah,
a couple times.
Okay, it's okay. But
there was
never like a super like you had to have us so distracted by something 24 hours a day.
Besides Legos,
that it was a part of who we are. Like there was never, I could leave my phone at home and probably not miss it at
I
the
do
end
it
of
all
the
the
day.
time.
I get irritated because I can't get a hold of you guys.
Okay.
That's
Well, here's the thing. It doesn't, like, dude, if you are giving your kid an iPad just to keep them from bugging you, that's like, give them something to do for a couple hours and
Or
then
just hang out with your kids.
literally, it is not, I get
Like,
that.
I get that it can't be all the time, but at
I
the
get that
same
people
time,
get
like,
busy. Like, dude, a couple hours every day or one day a week that you spend doing stuff with them makes a difference. Or even like the spontaneous little trips. Like, we came back from New York one year, which is where mom grew up, and
Been there like 8 times and never been to the city.
he grabbed us from the airport and literally we drove straight to California and went to Legoland. Neither of us knew. It was the most spontaneous thing ever and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But that was because like we used to go there for 2 weeks to a month to give them time to work over the summer. And that was basically their
Not
way
to
of
Legoland in New York.
I
yeah,
get it.
to New York. But that was basically their way of wanting to spend time with us and reward us
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And those are like the most memorable things. Like
Cool.
it was a couple years ago when we were still doing the beach house. You worked really hard and really long hours that week before while mom was there with Nani for, I don't know why they were there, but they were there a week earlier. You worked really hard that week before. That way you could take us to Disneyland that weekend before we went to the beach house. It's like the little things you give up time and sacrifice to be able to reward later.
To have a genuine like
Yeah.
relationship with your kids.
That's
And,
so
Like you
cool.
don't like
My parents were like that too.
I feel like there's no point in having kids if you're just going to allow them, basically allow yourself to make them like almost like a drag on your life. Like if your kids are only like just dragging on your life, like, no, I have to do this for my kids. I have to do this for my kids. I have to do this for my kids. Like, I know you guys talk about it a lot. Like when they're little, it's a little bit different. But like you guys wanted to have kids young because you wanted to enjoy us at this age, which I feel like has been great because you have been able to enjoy us at this age. And that's what having kids is about. But it's also like, you don't want to have them to the point where they're just dragging on you, which is, I feel like a big thing is like letting your kids be independent and not being like, you don't want to let them do whatever they want all the time, but you also don't want to control them down to the last penny that they touch. Like you don't.
Do you guys feel that was a big part of childhood, like where you're at now, just the independence to...
Absolutely.
You were never smothered.
Right.
Yeah, we were never like, no, you have to be home at this time. Like if it was like,
You guys
as
were
long
never
as it's-
helicopter parents.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I
it
feel
was
there
like
a
even
lot
when
of
we were little,
connection
it's
as
like
opposed to disconnection. A lot of people have disconnection with their family members now.
like when we were little, it was like, well, we want you home Friday night, but on Saturday you can go to your friend's house and have a sleepover. Like there's no like set restrictions or anything, and they're going to let us do what we want to do as long as we're also spending time with them and having our responsibilities done. And I think another big part of that is like, and like we go back to like the trips and things like that. Like I feel like almost everything you do for your kids, besides like maybe birthday presents and Christmas and things like that, I think everything should have like, you do this and you get this. Like kid asks for Chick-fil-A on the way home from school. I'll get you Chick-fil-A, but when we get home, you got to do the dishes. Like even for like smaller kids and things like that. Like I feel like there should always be something teaching them that they've got to work for the things that they want. Like how you guys did always with like the cars and the things like that. Like obviously it's okay to like just give your kids things time to time, but like there's always been like,
There's always been a lesson.
yeah, there's always been like something
Attached to things.
You always have to work for something. Like there's never just giving you things because you want them. And I feel like that's one of the biggest things. Like you want a phone, you got to save up $100 and then you get a phone, even if it's a $1,200 freaking iPhone. I don't know how those things are that expensive, but like there's got to be some sort of like, you've got to do something for the things that you want, and that'll teach them like when they grow up and it's about to time to get a car, they've got to save up a certain amount of money for a car. They got to save up for the car that they want, or they match their kids just like you guys did or something like that. And that's going to set them up to work for the things they want. And then when they do turn older and now they're a little bit more independent and they're hardworking and they know that they have to do things for the things that they want, they're going to be able to be independent when they're supposed to be, when they turn 18, 19 years old and they're moving out and they're working and things like that. Because eventually they're not going to have their parents there to smother them, and you want them to be independent, but you also don't want them to be to the point where they have a hard time connecting with people because their parents were never around, because their parents wanted them to be so independent, but now they have the hard time having relationships with other people. So that's what I feel like you guys have had a really good balance with that, like helping us have relationships with other people at the same time as being independent.
Well, I think that one of the things that, and I think we talked about this a little bit last week, is about, the difference in how we were raised, where it was like you go over to the kids' table, right?
Yeah.
And you're not integrated with the adult conversation. I think that's probably been, I think you guys would agree that the conversations and relationships that I've put you guys in the middle of.
Oh, 100%.
With our friends and our clients and those types of things, and giving you that space to talk and learn and see, I think has made a huge impact as well.
Even last night, like I went to that birthday dinner last night for Tatum, and I sat with Brad and Chris and Monica and Molly and talked.
I do that all the time when we've
and
got
talked
like his
for an
birthday,
hour and a half.
I sat with Brad and Molly and talked to them for a lot, and like even at the cabin, like it's fun because like there's all the little kids, the 6, 7, 8-year-old kids,
that you can
and we can
bully
go
the
and bully the little kids and still hang out and have fun with them. But you can also, when the kids go to bed, you can sit down and have those conversations and have fun times with the adults.
Yeah.
And like having that balance between being a kid and being an adult and knowing the difference, kind of.
Well, it's cool that you want to actually have the conversations, that you have the curiosity or the desire to kind of like, connect with them and figure out what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
You got any more secret questions you got? Give us one last zinger.
What? Like what?
Like just something that's going to be totally off the cuff that they wouldn't be expecting.
Off the cuff that wouldn't be expecting. I don't know. I think that like you guys are pretty cool. Like awesome. Listen, you guys are super mature.
Thank you.
Like I think you're way more mature than kids your age.
Than our dad.
Well, I wasn't going to say that, but that's what I was thinking. I'm like, who's mentoring who these days? That's so awesome. No, I think I'm just super, it's been awesome having you guys. It's been fun listening to you and getting to know you better.
It's been fun being here.
You guys
Yeah.
going to come back?
Sure.
If you need us to.
You want to do solo interviews?
If your views are
You
getting...
should ask a zinger to your dad.
Oh, yeah.
we're
We didn't get to
we're
ask.
asking questions
That's a good
now.
idea. You
Yeah.
guys asked the zinger. What's the zinger question?
What have you enjoyed most about having 2 teenage boys in the last couple of years?
What have I enjoyed
Like as
the
a
most?
parent.
You know what, I want to go back to this because I think it's important right now, is that one of the things I've enjoyed the most is actually that school got screwed up.
Oh,
Oh,
100%.
yes.
And the reason, but here's the reason why. I think about this morning. I came home from the gym and I get to see you guys. You know, you're running around in your MILF shirt, which is a Man I Like Fox Body shirt.
Let's say, let's clarify.
Which is pretty
on
funny.
that.
But and then I get to see you, and that's such a change from how I grew up, where it was like, I was leaving at school at 6:45, and then I didn't get home from 2:30, and then sometime my dad wouldn't walk in until 8 or 9 o'clock, so I didn't get that time.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually kind of grateful that we made those changes with school, even though it was a challenge at the beginning, because of the time that I get to see you guys and spend with you, and going up north and those types of things. And I think that that's been probably one of the greatest things, in the last year. But more so, I think I'm excited because I feel like Mom and I have made some really good choices early on when we decided that we were going to raise adults and not kids.
Yeah.
Because of that, we have this relationship where, like being up north this weekend and going on rides and doing those different things has really created a cool family dynamic. And I don't have this trust factor of like, even when you weren't home at 2:00 the other morning, because you didn't get done with work until late and you were at Denny's, no big deal. It's not that I didn't trust anything. It was the fact that I'm like, oh, where is he?
You were worried.
Yeah, it's a worry thing. But it's not a trust thing. So, yeah.
And I love that you guys have that
That trust factor.
Like I feel like even with both of us, maybe him a little bit more, but there's definitely been some things that we've done that could have and probably should have broken that trust. Maybe not should have, but like just some mistakes we made and things like that.
I've
but
made
you guys,
multiple mistakes, but we don't have.
you
to talk
guys
about
still
that.
you still trust us and you still let us be independent. Like I see a lot of kids that like freaking say the wrong curse word when they're playing on Xbox and now they're grounded for 3 weeks. Like I think that's the stupidest thing. Like I think it's
That is
great
funny.
that you guys let us make those mistakes and that you still trust us just the same after as you did before, and you let us learn from our mistakes on our own and things like that, and we can still go out and be kids because like you trust us and you know that we're going to make the right decisions most of the time, and if we don't, you know that either we'll learn from it or
the
you'll make us learn from it.
consequences.
Well, yeah,
Well, and that's life. I mean, you're gonna make bad decisions It
Forever,
happens.
yeah.
Yeah, for the rest of your life, there's gonna be bad
We're
decisions.
human beings.
Yeah.
Like
What's your zinger question, Christian?
my zinger question. No, I didn't think about this while Chase was talking. What has been your greatest accomplishment with the way you raised us? Not like as of like talking about like something you've been talking about, but like what's been your greatest like achievement knowing that you've raised us the way you have?
That's a good question. Do you need any Kleenex?
No.
You gonna cry, little baby?
I think the greatest accomplishment is one, the memory trips, the things that we did, the very intentional things that we did as far as a family goes for vacations and things like that. And I think the second thing was just raising, contributing adult kids that, you know, like Bernie said, you guys are pretty mature for your age, and having the foresight to keep you guys engaged early on and not worrying about what society says. Like, yep, you know, bad parents, right? You guys cuss at home here and there. It's not like there were certain things where you're like, okay, well, they're going to do it here or somewhere else. And I think just seeing you guys where we raised you to trust the process at home. And we created that household that we always wanted when we remodeled, which was everybody would be at our house, whether you guys are there or not. The kids still come and go, and that safe haven for you guys, for friends, and to have real life conversations. And I think like the most important thing is the trust factor. You guys trust that you can talk to either one of us. Granted, you guys probably talk to mom more about certain things than you do me, and that's okay. But the fact is you guys have that safe place that you know you can have the conversation, even though there might be consequences, but you know that it's okay to have those conversations and ask the advice, because that was always the thing that we wanted them to screw up when they were at home and be able to help them out of it, rather than screw up after you moved out and like have to go back and fix it. So, you know, those are, God, dude, I couldn't be any more proud of you guys for the kids you are and the trust that I have for you guys, the work ethic that you have. I mean, there's nothing that makes me more proud when it comes to that at all. So, I mean, just to sit here and be able to have an hour and a half conversation with you guys on microphones
On a Thursday afternoon,
if
if school would have gotten screwed up,
I would have to take you out of school.
Exactly.
Excused absence. Well, thank you, boys.
You're welcome.
guys so much.
Thank you
guys.
guys.